Right.
Hello, everyone. I'm Patrick Chavez. I'm your host, and this is OCR Talk. And I am here with James McHale and Lola Kelly. I think that's your name. Sorry, did I get it right? Lola Kelly? And Lola Kelly. Yes. Huh? Oh, yes. Yeah. Lola Kelly. And obviously they're going to be doing a show pretty soon. And this is usually, I don't know the people beforehand, but I actually know James actually. It's hard not to know James if you're really into OC theater, action OC theater. You're going to run into him a lot. I've run into him. I've been doing this 2 years, and it's unmistakable. I just keep running into him. It's just something you do because he's so involved in theater.
And you actually, too, sir.
Huh? Yeah. I actually, he actually did a show. Actually produced a show last year. It was actually a really good show. It was called, if I remember, Comedy of Errors. It was a really good modern comedy farce show. I really enjoyed it. Thought it was really funny. Just completely new and original. I think it did really well. Really like that. He does a lot of things for the Chance, and I've seen him in quite a few plays there. They took a lot of chances, like Samsara, which I really enjoyed. Yeah, Samsara, which I really enjoyed there. That was this interesting take about a surrogate baby and getting a surrogate in India, and it had a lot of surrealist elements in it, and it was really taking chances. It was very different. I really enjoyed that. But the show I really liked him in, and he was really good in, was actually my first show I saw him in, was Mabel and Vine. And if you have a chance, I don't know where you can find where they're playing this show. That was a really great show, really interesting show about trying to go to this other place in another time and all of the wonderful things that can happen back then, back in like the 50s, and how it was wonderful for certain things, but other things not so much. And really good playing James. James was one of the really incredible characters like that.
Not a great time to be a woman, no.
But thank you.
Great dresses, though.
I really liked that show. Anyways, this is the same theater company that did Comedy of Errors. It's the American Coast Theater Company, and they do most of their productions, if not all their productions, at Vanguard University in the Lyceum Theater in Costa Mesa. And this year during the summer, they decided to do Shakespeare in the summer, because that's just what you do. Shakespeare's in the summer. I don't know why. It's a really popular thing. Why did you pick it?
Well, for a couple of reasons. We like doing Shakespeare in the company. We don't do it every season, but every couple seasons we try to do at least one Shakespeare show. And this year, with being the 400th anniversary of Shakespeare's death, we thought it was an appropriate year to do a Shakespeare show and do a show that dealt with the themes of death. And so we chose Hamlet, for a couple reasons. We chose it, partly because it deals with death in a way that's different from some of other Shakespeare's work. It's a little bit more introspective, I think. Revenge is certainly a theme. Treachery is in there, but less so than some of the other Shakespeare plays. And this one, I think, really asks a little bit more questions about what a life is worth, which I think is important today, given everything going on in the world with mass killings or drones and, all of that. So I think having that conversation about what a life is worth is pretty important. So that was one reason we wanted to do this. Actually, Shakespeare wrote the play when in the year shortly after his father died. And
I thought it was his son.
His son actually died shortly before that as well. About 2 years before his son had died, who was named Hamlet. And then his father died like 6 months or so before Hamlet came out. Yeah. So he was dealing with grief in a way that made this play probably very, very personal for him. And so I think that's really in the writing, that introspection. So that was one reason we wanted to do it. And then we always wanted to pair it, or I always wanted to see Hamlet together with Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead, because it uses the same characters and it's modern and it's comedic, but it's also kind of got some dark tragedy going on in there too. And I just wanted to see the shows together and see how they connected and see how they paired and what discoveries you would make. They deal with a lot of the same themes, but Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead is more existential and is kind of approaching death from a much more modern point of view.
Yeah, it takes like the existential point of view that like the life is just a big troll.
Right.
It's
Right.
all absurd.
Right. Yeah, it's definitely using
Yeah.
absurdist devices, and it's just fun. So yeah, given that, we decided that this would be a great time to put the two together using the same cast. So that's what we're doing.
I'm sorry I kind of skipped over it, but because like I said, this is different because I actually know you so well and stuff like that. But can you just explain to the audience kind of a little bit in your words who you are and what you guys are doing on the productions?
Sure. So I am the associate artistic director for the company now, and also an actor in the company. So I'm playing Hamlet. No pressure. So it's a challenge. It's been a lot of fun this year, kind of helping produce the season and also play the role in both shows. And
I'm playing Ophelia.
she's excellent.
I'm stuck with this guy.
Biased. I think she's excellent. So this is your
He's
first
very
time.
good too.
This is your first time, right? with us?
Playing, yes, first time with ACTC. Yeah, very exciting. I oddly auditioned because I'm based in LA, in Hollywood, and I do a fair amount of theater in LA, but have not done much out here other than one show at South Coast Rep. But I auditioned for Jeremy's other show, and then he ended up calling me and telling me to come audition for Hamlet. So I came, and I've done Hamlet twice before, actually, so I'm obviously a little obsessed with the play. Can't seem to quit it. But yeah, I came out and auditioned, and here I am.
Do you feel like it's getting harder or easier to do the character, and do you change it up, or is it like you found that Ophelia, you like it and you're going to stick with it?
Oh, it's totally different every time based on the director and the rest of the cast and the Hamlet. And the last time I played Ophelia, Hamlet was way more of a dick. Well, not the actor, just like the way he was played was far more, he was just not as likable. So of course that changes the chemistry, that changes the stakes, and it changes the relationship entirely if Hamlet isn't as likable a protagonist. But I think James's and Jeremy's interpretation of Hamlet is far more likable. So I think this Ophelia is more tender, a little more sassy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And more modern. I like it. I like all the changes. I like same character can be played a totally different way.
Okay, so you're saying this version of Hamlet and Rosencrantz, sorry, I cannot say it. I'm horrible at saying it. You know what I'm talking about.
Guildenstern.
You know what I'm saying. I cannot pronounce it. Forget about it. I'm a writer, not a talker.
Fair.
Yeah. So this is going to be more of a modern take. You guys, are going to be truthful to the source material and try and keep it to the source material, or are you going to try and go out and do something a little bit different? If it's going to be something different, in what way?
1948 in Denmark, in both shows.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mostly. More absurd, of course.
Yes.
Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead, but yes.
So it is more modern than the original, but
right. And it is. We are honoring the original verse. It's cut down, so we're not doing like the 4.5-hour version. We're doing, maybe about 2.5 hours is roughly right now.
Yeah.
And it's very we definitely wanted to honor the language part of it, but it's also with our director Jeremy Luma, very much a highly physical, highly theatricalized version. So not an adaptation, and I think adaptations are wonderful, but the classic Hamlet, but definitely physicalized and theatricalized in ways that I think will be fun and exciting for the audience.
Yeah, so. Jeremy does incredibly good work with physical theater, and he's done some really exciting and interesting stuff physically in the show.
What can we expect from as far as the set goes and the theatrics, the things around you guys? Is this an elaborate set? Is this more focused on the actual acting? What's going on here?
It's not elaborate. It's
not super elaborate. I think the set design is pretty beautiful. You have to come and see, obviously. But
there might be ropes involved, hung from the ceiling
in one show, yeah,
that people might swing from. Not. Who knows?
It definitely has a war-torn environment. That's what is being suggested. But yeah, a lot of the focus is on the act, and really the actors and the characters' relationship to the audience in Hamlet is a big part of it. I don't want to give away too much there.
Yeah.
But there's definitely a relationship with the audience that I think is kind of unique.
Which there's historic precedents for.
Totally.
Yeah.
Do you think that, and I don't have a problem with this, but I thought it was something to bring up. Do you think that maybe Shakespeare might just sometimes be overdone? It's like he's put in this kind of God area of theater, and like people just keep doing him, and they do them so much that they don't respect maybe some other playwrights that maybe should be respected more, not more, but brought into attention more. And maybe because we use Shakespeare so much, I mean, he was a great playwright, and everything we see in our culture. I mean, you can't not go to a movie or a play and see aspects of how Shakespeare has kind of molded our culture. But is that because we just keep repeating and shoving his work into people's faces, so it kind of goes that way, guiding it into a limited space, because we're not bringing attention to other people like Brecht or some other playwrights that probably should have more attention.
I think Brecht is so specific, and I mean, he did incredible work, but he had a very specific political point of view, and I don't think everyone can identify with that point of view. And I think that the reason why Shakespeare is done so much, and I think it is sort of rammed down your throat in high school or whatnot, but people still continue to love him after they leave, and you don't continue pursuing something that you hate. And I think go and see Shakespeare, and that proof is in the pudding. Like, I think he still holds up today. Otherwise, productions of his work wouldn't be so popular. And I think he's so popular because he did write themes. Everybody's been in love, or maybe
hopefully at some point.
People have lost people. He's just writing in. People think of him as this genius, and it's all very intellectual, but it's very basic in a lot of ways. That's why people love Shakespeare. It's the heart plays that we all get. Very brilliant, but I don't know if that is there.
I think for me, I think a perfect example of bigger. They don't get bigger than a lot of Shakespeare plays, especially the tragedies, and Hamlet's a perfect example of that. And so I think that's something that's exciting, for audiences, and something that, again, that people identify with. I think it's very, very human. His characters are human, so human, and that again makes it relatable to her point. And I think
diverse.
Yeah.
So you have characters who are kings, and you have fools, and you have everything in between, whereas that sort of diversity of humanity.
And I do think it's important to do both.
That's what we're doing.
That's what we're doing. Yeah, exactly.
That's why Stoppard is in the mix.
Right. We're doing a play that's the absurdist genre a little bit. It's not pure absurdism, but it's definitely part of that. And Waiting for Godot. And I think it's important to do the classic, and then also to show something different, to expose audiences to that. So
what is the hardest situation as far as when you're in rehearsal? Do you ever have those moments during rehearsal where you're like, I can't I can't get somewhere. I want to get to an emotion. I can't get there. How do you get yourself to that place that you can't reach? If there's ever a place like that or a time when you're rehearsing for these kind of things.
Talking about that the other day, or at least I was.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, I had Jeremy gave me a direction which felt counterintuitive to what I had. It was a great idea, but it was counterintuitive to what my reaction, my knee jerk was. And because I had this idea of what the emotional state was, and he wanted something that was the opposite, it was really difficult to get there in just one rehearsal. And I personally think you just have to keep trying. I mean, that's why they call it rehearsal. Your rehearsal is just repeating something over and over again until you get it. And that's the great thing about doing theater. Like, you can't do that on a film set. So pushing through, and once you get on the other side of those moments, that's magic. Like, if rehearsals are just easy and you walk in and someone tells you what to do and you just do it, it's great. But if you're struggling with it and then you figure it out, it's gratifying. So yeah, and I was really grateful that Jeremy gave me that direction and that I was able to take it and try it out.
And I think, for me, a lot of it is just work, and you've invested, and you know what's sort of at stake in the scene. Just being open you're on stage with. And so, like with Lola,
yes.
she gives me so much when we're on stage together, that it's just really easy to just, if I'm not where I need to be, to just have a moment of just really connecting with her and being open to what she's giving me, and then it seems to kind of click right back in. So that's a big part of it.
It's such a great part.
Yeah.
Feel lost, you have someone there to help you out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of rehearsal, I'm so sorry, but we are actually in rehearsal. We have to go back to do a run through.
All right. Well, can you please just plug your show and tell me when it's happening, where it's happening, and we'll call it a day. All
right. So it's at American Coast Theater Company, which is at the Lyceum Theater at Vanguard University in Costa Mesa, and Our Dead opens first. It opens June 3rd. And then Hamlet opens June 10th. And then from that point on, the two shows are running in repertory. So we're literally just rotating performances. So you can come one day and see a play, go to one day, see them both in the same day with a little dinner break in between.
Feeling crazy.
However you want to do it. But you can get tickets at actctickets.com. You can find us online, AmericanCoastTheater.org, Facebook, American Coast Theater there, and find out more information on the show and more information for the box office and all of that. Running a promo, so the tickets are normally $19 general admission for each show, but if you come to both, you get them for only $15. So there's a little like extra incentive.